Deltarune is a game with a lot of mysteries, like who is the knight? What's going on with this shelter thing? What's with the garbage noise? Who's the forgotten man? Did Asgore hit Des with his truck? But all of these mysteries are child's play. No, there's one real mystery we have to solve, and of course, it revolves around the best character in fiction. What the hell is the original Starwalker? That's right, we're tackling a huge mystery today. This is no video on Gaster. Aww. No, today we're discussing the existence of a joke character that currently has basically no plot relevance at all, but he's also funny, so it's okay. Have you ever wondered if he's dead? No, you haven't? Well, lucky for you. I'm RayJade, and I answer questions literally no one cares about, so is Starwalker dead? First off, even if you've played Deltarune, you might be confused on who the hell Starwalker even is. Starwalker is a recurring joke character that originated all the way back in Chapter 1, who just kind of appears sometimes and exclaims that he's the original Starwalker, and is also usually pissed off. You can find him in this room in Chapter 1. If you ring the bell, then go back to the start of the room. Congratulations, you have now unlocked Starwalker. This will help in the Chapter 7 Smash Bros. Game mode, where you'll be able to play as Starwalker. Now, for the rest of the game, Starwalker will just kind of appear randomly and say shit like this.
I will also join this jail is still pissing me off. I am the original Starwalker!
Literally the greatest character ever written. Shakespeare weeps when Starwalker speaks. I also feel like it's worth mentioning here, for the sake of the rest of this theory, that if we're going by what Ralsei's definition of dark worlds, and by that extent what darkners are, then this video doesn't really need to exist because Ralsei basically says that none of them are real. But honestly, I don't know if I fully buy what Ralsei was saying here. I don't think Ralsei was lying, at least not on purpose. But if the Dark Worlds were entirely an illusion, and none of it was real, then why would the roaring even fucking matter? But that stuff is real. I mean, we see how real it is in Chapter 4, so I think there's a lot more truth to the Dark Worlds than Ralsei really thinks. Now, let's find out if the greatest character of all time is actually dead and rotting away somewhere. The thing that led me to even make this crackpot theory, it was trying to think of what Starwalker even is. There's no real item in the unused classroom that resembles him, and for that matter, no item in really any Dark World that seems like it would turn into Starwalker. Maybe Chris is carrying around something that turns into Starwalker, but considering we know what's in their pockets because of the church in Chapter 4, I also don't think this is the case because none of those items really resemble him either. Even the stickers, which would make sense if they were star stickers, but they're circle-shaped. So unless Chris is hiding whatever Starwalker is, or Susie is carrying him for some reason, then I have no fucking idea where this guy's coming from. That's not really important to this theory. The reason I even bring it up is because it eventually led to me rediscovering something kind of interesting and important to this entire theory. When you get a key item in the Dark World, it sometimes has a Light World counterpart that is separate from the ball of junk in your inventory. You see this with the eggs, for example, which are also eggs in the Light World, and you also see it with shadow crystals, which turn into pieces of glass that show Chris is going to lose their hand and die for some reason. Don't really know what's going on there, but whatever. Some items aren't necessarily like this, like the key to Jevel's boss room, for example, which doesn't have a Light World counterpart. But why even bring this up? Well, near the start of Chapter 2, Lancer and Rule's card for some reason enter your inventory as key items, and similar to the eggs and shadow crystals, they turn into cards that are separate from the ball of junk. But if you found Starwalker in Chapter 1, he also randomly enters your inventory and becomes a key item because he's fucking awesome. But unlike Rules and Lancer, he doesn't turn into his own item in the Light World and is literally nowhere to be found in your inventory, even though he's still a key item in the Cyber World, meaning he's not part of the ball of junk because you're not still holding that in the Dark World. So where the fuck is he? But there's some other things I also wanted to take note of when it comes to Starwalker, and it's the things he does. First of all, you literally can't do anything with him while he's a key item, unlike Lancer, but that's not really super important. But also something I find interesting is that, unlike Lancer and Rules, whenever he exits your inventory in Chapter 2, there's literally no sign that he's done it. When Lancer exits your inventory in Queen's Castle, you see his card, and Rules jumps out of your inventory and turns into sparkles when you're first entering Cyberworld. But when Starwalker joins your party here for literally 2 seconds, and also when he's part of the Ultimate Group Project at the end, there's literally nothing that tells you that he left your inventory, considering he's in your inventory the entire chapter up until he leaves to join your party, only to go back into your inventory and leave again at the end. And finally, in the room where you first find Starwalker, he's quite literally nowhere to be found until you ring this bell and walk backwards, and then suddenly he's just kind of standing over there. Where the fuck did he come from? It's kind of like he just manifested into reality here for no reason, which wouldn't be that crazy if it wasn't for the fact that this is not the only time he's done this. Thinking back to when he became a key item, you can explore all of Castletown here and not find him literally anywhere. Then out of nowhere, it just kind of appears. Also, when he joins your party, he comes from the left. You don't even go to the left. How did he get there? How did he get there? Where is he coming from? Is he Sans 2.0? What the fuck is this shit? And yet another thing that I think is kind of worth mentioning is that outside of the second sanctuary, Starwalker never turns to stone. Even in Cyberworld, where Lancer and Rules both pretty quickly turn to stone, Starwalker never does, even when he's in this room with you and when he's used for the Ultimate Group project at the end. This will be important again in a bit, so just keep it in mind. So let's quickly recap what we found out about Starwalker. Even when Lancer and Rules both turn into an item in the Light World when they're key items, Starwalker never does, even though he's not in the Ball of Junk. Starwalker will also never make any sign that he's left your inventory after leaving your inventory, which is in contrast to what other characters do when they leave your inventory. He also has the ability to just kind of appear out of nowhere. He's too powerful. And with the exception of his statue in the second sanctuary, he never turns to stone, even when other characters like Rules and Lancer, who are also from the unused classroom Dark World, where Starwalker is first found, turn to stone. It sounds like a whole lot of nothing, which it absolutely is. This is a Deltarune theory after all. But I feel like there's still one thing that we haven't really looked at, and that's what Starwalker says. When you first meet Starwalker, he says,
"These birds are pissing me off. I am the original Starwalker!"
Let's actually analyze what the hell Starwalker is saying here. I am the first person to ever say that sentence. The birds Starwalker is referencing are the Starwalker birds. We know this considering you can get $40 when interacting with the beak when it's running away, and it says that you got $40 from Starwalker's ambient luster. Starwalker then says that he is the original Starwalker, which means fucking nothing at first, but because I'm insane, it actually means quite a lot to this theory. He's the original Starwalker, huh? So he's saying that the birds came after him? Now, bear with me for a second. I think Starwalker is saying that the birds evolved from him. After all, he's the original, right? He and the birds have some sort of connection due to their names and physical similarities. So I think, not really, but whatever, that the Starwalker birds evolved from the original Starwalker. So it's not completely insane if we're already at that insane conclusion to say that Starwalker could be dead considering there's a more evolved species of him that we've seen multiple instances of. That's a pattern in real life. A lot of the times, a more evolved species of something means that the original species is fucking dead. But it goes further. Remember that statue in the second sanctuary? I find it very interesting that this is the only time we've ever seen Starwalker as a statue, even though he appears multiple times in Cyberworld and he's completely fine, as well as TV World, but like no one turns to stone there except for like a Pippins and this fucking Ram guy. So I don't know if it really matters. Why would Starwalker only turn to stone here and be fine in other Dark Worlds? Well, I think it's because the Starwalker that we've seen outside of this Dark World isn't the real Starwalker. It's his ghost. This theory is so fucking stupid. So what the hell is this statue then? It's his fossilized remain. Most fossils are found in some form of stone, and while it's rare for an entire creature to be intact when fossilized in stone, it can happen. I mean, it's pretty rare to have 2, potentially 3, ambidextrous people in the same town, considering like 1% of the world's population is ambidextrous. So I don't think the world of Deltarune is too immune to statistical anomalies or anything. So yeah, the fucking conclusion I'm coming to here is that Starwalker is dead and haunting you. You've heard of piles of Azrael's dust? Prepare for piles of Starwalker's dust. And as absolutely delusional as this conclusion admittedly is, I think it kind of explains that random pile of evidence that wasn't really anything that I discussed earlier. Starwalker not being an item in the Light World when other Darkners who become key items are items separate from the Ball of Junk in the Light World, it would make sense here because the Starwalker we see most of the time, and by that logic, the same Starwalker that is a key item isn't actually him, it's his ghost. This would also explain why he doesn't do anything in your inventory, and why he kind of just randomly disappears from your inventory and appears in a random place, and why he just overall kind of manifests out of nowhere. Starwalker died long ago after the Starwalker birds evolved from him, and now he's a specter haunting the Dark Worlds, but also joining the Lancer fan club as their pal, because even though he may be dead, he will never truly die. Just like Woody theory.
Starwalker is the friend inside me. He's the friend inside our heads.
Or there's the secret other option where I do the Deltarune theory thing and connect it all to Gaster for no reason. It looks like he's a fragment of something, and he randomly appears and disappears. He's Gaster! Aww. And that's all the bullshit I have for today. Do I actually believe that Starwalker is dead? Fuck no. So he puts a lot of detail into a lot of things, and Though Starwalker remains the undisputed greatest character of all time, I don't think Toby planned out the lineage of Starwalker and decided to have him be dead and rotting away while his ghost haunts you, and while there are evolutions of him out there. As incredible as Starwalker is, he is also a joke character. But who knows, honestly, maybe Toby puts more effort into shit like this than we think. Maybe Starwalker is the fucking knight. I don't know, man. This is actually the reason why Chapters 3 and 4 took nearly 4 years. Chapters 6 and 7 are releasing in 2074 because Toby is making Chapter 7 have a secret Starwalker route with 19 hours of new exclusive content that leads to nothing, no new ending. It's the same thing. Anyway, this was fun to do. It was an incredibly stupid idea, but I wanted to make a theory that I knew was fucking stupid, and that actually had a bit of evidence behind it, and not a whole lot honestly disproves it, except for everything that disproves it. I don't care. Shut up. But yeah, no, this theory is bullshit, and I know it. I just thought it'd be a funny idea so I could hide my real theory.
That's right, assholes! This video was just deployed to lead up to my real theory! Carol Holiday is poisoning the water supply with Starwalker drugs to delude hometown residents and also some darkness somehow into believing the existence of Starwalker.
I'm a Deltarune political conspiracy theorist now. Next up is the Deltarune version of QAnon.